Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name is Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3, BPOD TV, and Roku. Big news. Should Tony La Russa be fired? A lot of people are calling for it. We'll break it all down in just a second. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You can watch more of this show. Search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. You can watch more shows from the BPOD TV network. Search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. How do you feel when you're blamed for something that you shouldn't be blamed for? Feels horrible, doesn't it? Taking the fall for somebody else, being assigned responsibility for something that does not belong to you at all. Sure, you've dealt with this in your workplace before. Taking the fall for somebody, kissing somebody's butt, being fired on behalf of somebody else's mistake. It's frustrating, to say the least. It's wrong. It's not just. It's not fair. But it happens all the time. Part of life, unfortunately. Something similar is happening right now with the Chicago White Sox. Now, before you get all mad and say, what are you talking about, Jon? Tony La Russa sucks. Hear me out. What's a more plausible explanation for the White Sox right now? They sit 6 games out of first place only. There are 100-plus games to go. And they're not where they want to be, obviously. They should be leading this division. They should be running away with that. But what makes more sense? Is this all on a 77-year-old Hall of Fame manager who's already won many World Series with different teams? Is it all on him? Or is it on injuries, players, and circumstances? It'd be way different if all this was happening and Rick Renteria was still the manager. Somebody with no experience, no credentials whatsoever. It'd be even different if Ozzie Guillen was the manager. Joe Madden was the manager. People I like, but still, they do not have the expertise and credentials that Tony La Russa has. It would be different. So who's more to blame? Is it really all on Tony? A Hall of Fame manager, 3-time World Series winner, and a career .530 winning percentage. Over 30, 40, 50 years in the game. Has the game actually passed Tony by? Does he not know what he's doing? I'm upset he's just too old. Doesn't connect with players, doesn't even have the cognitive ability to function. I call that wrong. What makes sense to you? Tell me, does it really make sense that this Hall of Fame 3-time World Series winner somehow forgot how to manage a team? I'm not saying everything he's done is great. That intentional walk on a 1-2 count with 2 outs, stupid. I have never seen such stupidity. But I'm not going to blame one game, one loss, one bad call and say it represents the whole season and Tony needs to be fired. I'm not going to do that. A lot of Sox fans who are young, impatient, want him gone. And they want Ozzie Guillen back because he's a fan favorite. Or somebody else, maybe Joe Girardi, anybody. Doesn't matter. Here's my message to you who fall into that category. I like Ozzie Guillen. I think he is great. But it'd be a pretty big culture shift to bring him back in mid-season when you're trying to win the World Series like this. And remember, Ozzie was fired because he couldn't win anymore, and his antics didn't work anymore. Same with Joe Madden recently, unfortunately. I love both of them. I think they're talented baseball minds, but it didn't work. It's over. Bringing back Ozzie Guillen because he makes good observations during a pre- and post-game show does not constitute, to me, something that the White Sox should do. And it's not a solution. Contrary to what people think, it's not a solution, and you'll see it. If it happens, you'll realize right away this isn't what the White Sox need. They don't need a failure like Joe Girardi, who just got fired after losing 12 straight. Same with Joe Madden. People are making Tony out to be this horrible manager, and the White Sox are 16-30. They're not. They're a few games under, and they're 6 games out of the division lead. And really, they're right there in the wild card hunt. I'm not saying they should be aiming for a wild card, but the fact is, if you think today there is no chance the White Sox make it to the postseason, or can't cause problems for teams in the postseason, or maybe can't even win the World Series, then obviously you have no conception of time and baseball. Baseball's not a sprint. This isn't the NFL. This isn't 17 games and it's over. 162. That's a lot of games and a lot of time to make up problems you had in the beginning. Tony La Russa and his teams never start out hot. The Cardinals won in 06, a World Series, winning 83 regular season games. 83. They barely even finished above 500, let alone made the playoffs. And they won the whole thing over the Tigers. I watched that World Series. I remember. Last year, Sox were 8-13, 9-13 to start their season, and what do you know? They won the division, won 93 games, and played Houston somewhat tough. Unfortunately, Sox fans are a bit too impatient, and you have every right to be. I don't blame you because it's been a rebuild that's been in the works for what? 12 years, 13 years at this point? You have every reason to demand better of your team, but don't just blame the manager and not the team itself. Players are not performing. Players are hurt. Key players have been hurt. The fact that the White Sox are even near 500 at this point, with every injury they've sustained, is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Tim Anderson's hitting 360, and he's not playing every day. Michael Kopech just got hurt. Lance Lynn just came back. Dallas Keuchel was a liability. He didn't help anybody. And yet, as we speak today, they're 6 games out of a division. They're right in the thick of the wild card hunt. Let's stop preaching like it's the end of the world when obviously we're not even close to being there yet. It's not over. No. I feel bad because Sox fans, we had the same talk last season about this. You recall. You watched my videos from last June. Go take a look. I said, don't freak out. It'll be fine. And they won the division. They won 93 games. Who's to say they can't turn it around now? Look, the World Series odds obviously taking a hit. The Yankees are red hot. Astros look good. Twins are doing okay right now. There are a lot of teams that the Sox are going to have to leapfrog and jump over. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to win the World Series, but I will say this. If you think today they're not making the postseason, I think you're wrong. If they don't make the postseason, I'll be the first one to say, fire Tony La Russa. But I'm so confident in his ability to lead a team because he's done it for 40, 50 years. And I think he'll be okay. I think the Sox will be okay too. You could chant fire Tony from the rooftops. The fact is, there's no good replacement. No better replacement. And this team is not 16-32. They're around 500. There's a difference between fire Nagy and fire La Russa. Not Nagy did nothing and had no resume. Tony La Russa has a resume. He's great. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He knows how to win. This is not somebody they picked up off the street. This is not his first job. Tony La Russa knows baseball. The game has not outdated him either. It hasn't. I hate that argument. At the end of the day, baseball is still what it is. There might be changes along the way, more analytics, more sabermetrics, which I hate and I despise, but at the end of the day, baseball is baseball. You have to hit, pitch, throw. Run. Catch. There's still 4 bases. It's still a diamond. You still have to hit bat to ball. So the game did not age out Tony La Russa or leave him behind. It's another stupid argument by people who don't know baseball. I know baseball. I played baseball. Almost played it collegiately. Had an offer. I turned it down. I had an offer. I know baseball. Tony La Russa is not too old or doesn't know what he's doing or isn't mentally competent. Everybody makes mistakes. Cubs won the World Series at times in spite of Joe Maddon. I like Joe Maddon, but in spite of Joe Maddon, sometimes the Cubs won the World Series. He made some baffling decisions. He almost blew the entire thing for them. They still won. I can't imagine how many mistakes Tony La Russa has made over the 40 years he's been managing in baseball, let alone that on top of it, his time as a player. I can't imagine how many mistakes he's made. And guess what? He's in the Hall of Fame. He's a 3-time World Series champion, and right now, he's managing this team. And if you could find me somebody better than a 3-time World Series champion, than somebody who's been immortalized in baseball lore, talk to me. You want to call somebody like Jim Leyland out of retirement? Great. Amazing. There are very few people you can call right now who have the credentials and the ability to lead like La Russa. There are very few people, if any, left. And they're all retired. There's nobody in today's game pool who stacks up to La Russa. I'm sorry. No, there's no one. So before you get on the bandwagon, because it's a bandwagon, fire Tony La Russa, go to the next Sox game and boo him and say he should go. Think about, number one, your alternatives, and think about, number two, where this team is at. You cannot blame the manager for players' deficiencies. You cannot blame the manager for player injuries either. It might be easy to blame the manager, but it doesn't always work, and it won't always translate to results. Everybody still plays hard with La Russa. They do. You could tell easily when the team is defeated. Last year, the Bears, defeated. We knew it. With Matt Nagy, we knew they were defeated. They sucked. They didn't even want to play. Fields didn't even play at the end of the year. Everybody knew defeated. He's gone. Everybody's playing right now for the White Sox. They're playing hard, and they're winning games. They're still winning, just not all the time yet. This team is not defeated. La Russa hasn't lost the locker room. They're fine. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes it's just frustrating. There's talent on this team. They've done a good job at rebuilding. And yet, everyone's blaming La Russa, despite the fact that there are injuries and bad contracts too. Dallas Keuchel was one of the worst contracts in recent history for the White Sox. They paid Dallas Keuchel $20 million per year to post a 7 ERA. Give me a break. That's not Tony La Russa's fault. Stuff like that is not his problem. And this is what I'm talking about. These are the things I'm saying. The White Sox, at times, have spent bad money. They are battling constant injuries. Everybody keeps getting hurt. I don't even understand why. How's that even possible? I don't know. You cannot say with a straight face, it's all on Tony. And that's objective. You could take it any way you want. You could say I'm a Tony La Russa supporter or I don't know baseball. At the end of the day, are you really going to sit here with a straight face and tell me, yes, every single thing that's gone wrong is all because La Russa is in the manager's chair? Everything. Everything. Not only play calling and decision making, but we're going to talk about injuries, bad money spent. All of it falls on one man. If you're going to sit here and tell me that with a straight face, then yeah, you know what? He should be gone. He should be fired. This is why we have to look at the full scope of things and not just one person. Even last year, look at the Bears. The Bears still fired their GM and head coach, and I wanted more, and they didn't even do it. Ted Phillips, George McCaskey, goodbye as well. Didn't happen. It should have happened. The same here. This is not just Tony La Russa. What about players? What about guys getting hurt? What about guys just not performing? Dallas Keuchel cost the White Sox right now probably 8 games, 7 games with his piss-poor starts. That's a fact. So if Dallas Keuchel was simply not on this team, I wonder where they'd be now. They'd probably be a little bit over 500. That's my point. And what's Tony supposed to do? Not play him? Not start him? I'm sure he got guidance from the front office saying you better start Keuchel. Even if he sucks, we paid him $20 million. That's my point. It's not just one person. It's not just La Russa and his managerial decisions. It's everybody. A lot of people have to share the blame on this. And here's the best part. It's not over. We're in June. It's not over yet. Don't think it is. That's the worst part. That's the part that frustrates me. People are approaching baseball like it's football. People are approaching the White Sox like it's the Bears. Way different situation. Way different. Leaps and bounds different. And that's the thing that we have to think about and talk about. So before you head on Twitter tonight and say fire Tony again, like you do every night, consider what I just brought up to you. Consider the points that I made. It's not all La Russa. I'm sorry. I know you want a scapegoat. Everybody wants a scapegoat. Like I said to open up this show, everybody wants to blame somebody, even if it's not their responsibility or their problem. And I'm sure many of you, comment, let me know. Many of you have probably gotten fired or reprimanded for something somebody else did, but you were the scapegoat. It's happened. It happens all the time. And it's happening here with Tony La Russa. I'd rather see the full picture and not just focus on one guy for ratings or hilarity. People focus on Tony La Russa for fun. They think it generates views or clicks, or they think for some reason people care about it. They don't. People want the truth. I'm telling you the truth. La Russa's made mistakes, no question. But if you're going to say that every single thing that's gone wrong, everything, falls on him only, and you don't know baseball, and you don't know this White Sox team, that's the truth. You don't know baseball, and you don't know this team. If you think, oh, La Russa's gone, the White Sox will win again, you're going to be mistaken. And you'll see it if he does get fired in this year or the year to come. Regardless, you'll see that. And you'll realize, oh, crap, I think the Sox made a mistake again. You can cause public pressure. You can protest and say, fire Tony. That's fine. But the Reinsdorfs, like the McCaskies, are not going to fire him mid-season. So you can cross that off the list right away. Number two, I don't think it makes sense to just axe a Hall of Fame manager after one season. It doesn't make sense to do. You and I both know that. We're talking logically here. I'm not talking emotions. I'm talking logically. Do you really think it's all on Tony? Do you really think it's just because of his existence, his mere existence, this team is not doing what it should be doing? If you do, then again, I wish you the best, and I hope one day you could see the truth, because that isn't the truth. That's the narrative being painted by both local and national media. Nobody likes Tony La Russa because they didn't want him. I'd like the move because you're hiring experience. You're hiring somebody with a track record and knowledge. You don't want that. That's fine. I'm not going to force you to prefer somebody, but it made sense to do the hiring. It made sense to bring him in. And right now the season isn't over. Let's see where they are come September. Then we could talk about whether or not he deserves to be fired, but even more importantly, we could talk about whether or not it's all on him that the White Sox are not performing where they should be right now. Thanks for watching today's show here on BPON TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. And to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, sportstalkchicago.com, and tune in right here every night at 10:30 on BPON TV. So long, everyone.